We are going live with Dr. SONJA Lemons, Part 3 of her Talking to the Pastor radio show. She's talking about sex education and preparing to make sure that we have sexual security. So we're going live now. We can see that it is the Internet. You can see that very clearly. We're having some problems with those that are tuning in now. You'll be able to see that we are having some problems technically. Hey, I want y'all to know we've got some technical difficulties here with the Internet, and we don't know why it's showing dark here, but hopefully y'all can see us.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad. So here we go. She's going to start her show.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I pray that all is well with you. I'm so excited this morning. You know, we're doing a new thing. You know, it's time to do something new. And so we're excited this morning because we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on YouTube all at the same time. So we're very, very excited. And this is my show, Talking to the Pastor. And this is the place where the abundant life is manifesting with a new mindset. You know, we got to get rid of that stinking thinking. If we really want to move forward in faith, move forward in God, move forward in our jobs, move forward in our marriage to those good things that God has promised us in His fullness, then we got to get rid of the stinking thinking. I'm so excited today because you're going to be able to call in today. If you look here on Facebook, you can see where you can call in today and ask us questions. I have my guest here with me today, whom I'm so excited about. I just love this woman of God. She's so awesome. She's phenomenal in all that she does. She has a legacy. Do y'all hear me? Her legacy is already living. It's living in me. And I'm so excited. She's a great mentor. She's a great friend. She's a great counselor. She does faith-based counseling. She has several books, too many for me to name. But we will be talking about one of them in particular on today, which deals with the subject that we've been talking about for several weeks now. I pray that you've tuned in as Dr. Murphy and myself have been talking about sexual matters. Yes. Sexual matters within the church, sexual matters within relationships, within dating, with the children, with the police. I mean, we have really been greatly affected by these sexual demons. And today, this isn't sexually explicit. So if you're under the age of 18, you will be able to listen to this on today, because we're going to be talking about something that affects all of us, and something that we need to implement, something that we need to reform just socially and on a community level, and that is sexual security.
Yes.
So, Dr. Murphy, can you tell us why we need sexual security in our community and in our society?
Well, one of the reasons why is because we want to make sure that we both give safety to the people that are going to church, and safety for the families and those in the communities, and other things to make sure that we don't get sued in these churches.
That's true.
Because
That's
a lot
true.
of things that are going on in these churches is causing a lot of people to be in a lot of trouble because they don't think about policy.
That's true. And litigation is very important in this time and season because everybody wants to sue you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If something goes wrong with the children at the church, something goes wrong, you know, just period.
Yes.
You know, they want to sue you.
So real.
So some policies need to be put into place.
That's right.
That will not only protect the people, but protect the enterprise, the business, or the church, or whatever it is that you have. There have been some lawsuits already.
I know.
Filed against businesses, filed against churches. Mm-hmm. And so it's something that we need to face head on, whether you have a business or whether you have a church, or even when you're in a relationship, even when you're dating.
That's right.
So we want to talk about some of these security factors that we can implement, within the community that would really help us. So let's just start with parental sexual security.
Yes, God.
Let's start with that because, as I'm looking at everything, it seems that everything that God has shown me, it's bringing me back to the home.
Yes.
It's bringing me back to the house. It's bringing me back to the responsibility being put on the parents.
Yes.
And if you're a victim yourself, you're going to pass some things through the bloodline, whether you know it or not. And so how important is parental sexual security needing to be stressed in these homes?
Yeah, you made a good point. I think what's important first is, we talk about stress at home. We need to make sure that as parents, we be real and talk about those real issues at home first, so kids can know what is a good touch, so kids can know, you're not supposed to allow, these different ones to tell you to sit on their lap and so on. And so starting at home is so important first. At least they've got that seed and they know. But then when they go out and they don't really understand, then they think it's okay for pastor or elect lady or whomever or the youth pastor in the church that's leading them in that particular area for children's church. It's okay for them to rub their thighs back and forth or what have you. Yeah, so you don't get that at home first to secure them, to make sure they know they can come to you, and so they can know what the wrong touches and things like that is. I mean, kids are lost. They're green.
That's true. And, I get so nervous knowing what I know in Houston with the sexual trafficking, the drug trafficking, and the human trafficking and the prostitution, all this craziness going on. I get so nervous when I'm driving down the street and I see a child walking alone from and to school. We can't do that
anymore.
We're not safe anymore, y'all.
Nope.
We're not safe.
Nope.
And so you're really putting your child in danger when you're allowing them to walk to school by themselves. And I know you had an incident, Dr. Murphy, the other day, where you got so upset.
Oh, my
You were in the Galleria shopping, and you got so upset.
I'm so glad you said Galleria, because those that know me, they know I call the dollar store Galleria.
Because,
God.
the mother had abandoned her child in the store. The child just running all over the store, being unsupervised. That's something that we can't allow anymore for our children to be unsupervised.
Yeah, and I think that the people who are leaving these kids, it's because they're pretty much selfish as far as I'm concerned. It's about what I want to do and what have you. But in the times that we're in that situation, we have to be the community, the ones to, going to be there to say, oh, no, not on my watch.
Yes,
and I just think that in this time that we're in, parents who don't have this security for those kids, especially when they're out and walking alone even in children's church, you can't leave these kids alone.
That's true.
You hear me? You can't leave them alone all the time with the youth pastors. I don't care if they're male or female. You have got to be able to make sure that those security measures that you're trying to bring forth now are really being processed. Because a lot of these people don't realize that they're going to get themselves in a lot of trouble. Now, if I wanted to really drop kick her, like I talked about on that tape, because I was so, passionately concerned, especially with a young girl, was it Malia,
4 years old.
I mean, you're talking about somebody hit you in your head. I was looking like, if somebody hit you in the head, we need to look at what are we doing to protect our kids.
That's true.
Really.
That's true. And, I hear people say all the time, but they're just too young. But, they're being abducted, molested, raped, whatever you want to call it, at a very young age. And so we've got to start talking to them now.
Correct.
We can't wait until we feel like
that's too much.
They're old enough to deal with it. I was discussing with you the other day how my granddaughter, when she was in the second grade, there was a coach at the school, who was giving her things every day. She was bringing something home, and he was telling her how beautiful she was and, just you know, and so when she came home, probably about the 5th day, and I said, where are you getting all this stuff from?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the coach has been giving me that. He tells me I'm so pretty.
My God.
And he's telling me, you know, that I'm like a daughter of his,
Mm-hmm.
and I can trust him.
I can trust. Listen to that word.
The devil is a liar.
And crazy.
Sonja Lemons
It's on the watch.
went to that school.
Grandma.
Don't play with me. With my grandbaby.
I know that's
the
right.
devil is
Crazy
a
and a loser.
I went to that school. I had a talk with the principal, the counselor, and I didn't mean any harm.
Really?
Really? You know, we got to confront these pedophiles.
I'm telling you.
You know, because they're abducting our children. You know, they're kind of trying to wean them in with
Correct.
the things and the stuff.
Correct.
You know, it's a television show that comes on called Ransom.
I've never seen that.
Where they're weaning different children, you know, to come to the pedophiles to be abducted.
Yeah.
And different things. It's really scary.
I know.
Because really what they're doing is promoting
exactly right.
criminal behavior.
How to do it.
How to do it.
That's
They're telling you how to abduct someone.
Correct.
They're telling you how to sexually abuse somebody and get away with it. And I'm telling you, one of the most horrifying things that I saw was this 27-year-old man. I think I sent you that one. He raped. He was a bus driver. He recently raped this 14-year-old girl, and they gave him probation.
Yes, I did see that. You know, my blood pressure went up like it did with Malia. You know, I was just like, you know, this is not good because, like you were saying, you know, the teacher coach was constantly giving, you know, these rewards and, you know, grooming is what they call it. Grooming her to say, oh, you look so beautiful. You can trust me.
Right.
And one of the things that parents got to know is that don't be afraid to ask these questions. I don't care if they're at church, where they're at.
That's
you
true.
need to ask questions about what do these kids do when they get into the children's church. You need to go and sit in on. And they said, well, we don't allow parents. The devil is a lie. When my granddaughter, I think we talked about that last time, like you. But I went into that children's church to sit there. Yeah. And I saw that they felt intimidated by it or whatever, but I told them while I was there, I just want to see your structure.
Right.
You know, how are you teaching?
Right.
I want to see that.
So I could snatch a patch out your head.
You know, well, really, so I can see, what are you saying to my granddaughter here?
Right.
Well, along the line, I guess she's thinking, well, she so this, she so that. So along the line, once I release and then go back, she started talking mean to my grandbaby, hollering at her and stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
And my granddaughter said that she was saying all of this stuff. Well, when I went in there and told the pastor, he said, oh, what? Because we put all this trust in people who, the Bible clearly says, do not put your trust in man. We need to make sure that that fruit is really flowing in that individual before you start trying to let them be released to these children.
That's true. And another thing, parents, that you need to become familiar with when it comes to your children, what security measures have been implemented at the church, at the daycare, or wherever you're dropping your child off at. You need to see, you know, what are the security measures. Am I able to watch my child at the daycare through my cell phone? Am I able to watch my child through my cell phone while they're in children's church? Have my children been signed in?
Right.
Because, you know, accountability is very important.
Correct.
You know, because, you know, we're having these fights, you know, right now between the parents, you know, with the custody of the children. And so you need to sign these kids in by the same person and sign them out by the same person.
That's correct.
Because if there's a dispute between the husband and the wife or the relative, somebody may come pick up that child that wasn't authorized, that did not sign them in, that may try to hurt them because of the parent. Recently there was an incident, I think I sent you that one, in New York, where there was a custody battle. In the divorce.
And he took that baby.
And he burned that baby
to death.
To death in a car.
That's correct. And I was going to say, one of the students who I was mentoring told me that her husband at the time was mad because they were separated during go through a divorce. And he picked the baby up from the daycare and beat the baby to death. So we got to know that those procedures are very important.
That's
true. People get so frustrated they go into work and doing everything. But, I mean, really, if you know that y'all are going through it, you know he's subject to want to come get the baby to hurt you or just capture the baby to get you back, then you should make sure that you got on that documentation. I'm going through a divorce. I need security in case he shows up here. These are policies that need to be in place. That's the first thing you need to check. Where's the policies here?
That's true.
I had to learn that myself. Where's the policies
That's
here?
true. Where are the policies?
Right.
And don't be afraid to ask for the policies.
Yes.
Because, we're doing a lot of gun control, but we need some sexual security.
And specifically read that. That's right.
We need some sexual security policies because with our church insurance, we cannot have anybody convicted of a felony.
That's correct.
Any pedophiles.
That's correct.
We cannot actually do any form of counseling.
That's right.
One-on-one with anybody.
That's correct.
Our leaders are even held accountable.
That's right.
The pastor have a whole set of security measures that we have to adhere to because churches are being sued.
That's correct.
And the insurance is being held accountable. Let's get on a real touchy subject, Dr. Murphy.
Okay.
Especially where men and women who date who are single are concerned.
Yes.
How do they go about protecting their children when they're single, they want to date, they want to be married, but when do you introduce your child to this person? Just give us some how-tos right there.
Well, being one that's been there and done that, living with a man for about 5 or 6 years, not making it clear that we are not married. But a lot of times women won't share this information because they want them to obey them.
Right.
So they say, well, they must be married. But my issue in when women are single or having a man just live in their homes and don't take the time to really sit down and talk about what the do's and don'ts are in regards to the children in the relationship. Because a lot of times these men who are not mature, these men who have had all kinds of emotional or sexual struggles themselves, then when you're going to bed at night, he's kicking in, going in the bed with your daughter. Or when he's really struggling looking at porno and you won't, you keep trying to take the tapes and you won't let him, then eventually he's going to start doing something possibly even to your own son. We think it's always just a daughter. But I think it's important that when you are single, when you are, married even for that matter, but when you're single and you have someone to come in, we need to make sure that those rules of the house are taken very, very serious because women tend to want to get with these men. Women tend to feel so alone and abandoned, whatever. They would do whatever, and they begin to neglect and sacrifice their kids. That's a whole other subject. I'm just really concerned about that because the woman just want to make sure that they don't lose that man.
That's true. That's true. And, it really gets scary, because a lot of these men, and I want to get into the studies because y'all know I love statistics. A lot of these men are not really looking for a woman. They're looking for her children. That's correct.
They're dating you to see, are you weak enough to let me get close enough?
Right.
And they're dating you to see, and especially when these kids got shapes, because I know my little girl, when she was small, she had a figure. So I couldn't have sleep through the night if he stayed all night. I was walking floors all night long. She would not get to do anything to my daughter.
Right.
But people get drunk. These women get drunk. They give them pills. They're actually giving them pills sometimes to make them go to sleep so that they can hurt these babies while they're sleeping.
Oh, my
And
goodness.
sedating the kids, giving them sodas with pills in them to make them be asleep while they having sex with them. We need to realize that this is the time we're in right now, that the enemy in this sexual perversion that we're talking about now so we can educate the body, we're in a time right now we cannot just be thinking we can just do anything anymore. We got to provide sexual security. So I really commend you for doing this so the church can realize accountability is not just now. It has been a long time ago. But the church today, they don't want to think they need no policy. They don't think they need it.
We got to set some standards.
They are training lawyers how to sue the church. They are training lawyers how to sue the church.
They are training them how to sue the church because they're making too much money and they're tax-free. And so, we're living in a time where we can't really just trust everybody.
That's right.
Not even your relatives.
That's correct.
Not even your friends. And we got to stop leaving these kids with everybody.
That's right.
Just dropping them off here, just dropping them off there and thinking that they're going to be okay.
I know.
There are a lot of people that I've talked to that are saying now, well, my mama used to drop me off at such and such, and they would do this, and they would do that. I mean, you're 40 years old.
That's right.
Why are we just now talking about
right.
it? We need a Me Too program.
That's correct.
In the schools.
Yes.
We need a Me Too program in the churches. We need a Me Too. But, we're going to have to face this. Everybody's talking about it, but let's do something about it.
Thank you.
Stop talking about it.
That's correct.
Let's get some laws enforced. You know what? I'm telling you, CPS has reformed laws concerning these children.
That's correct.
And I'm telling you, you may know of a child that's being abused or being raped. You know what? You could possibly end up with a felony on your record.
That's right.
Just because you knew.
And just because you wouldn't even write talk. The laws are set up now that just like tax exemption, we must have all those bylaws and all those things to function as a tax exempt. They're hiring lawyers or training them to see, do they have any policies about offerings and sexual, how they say with the LGBTQ populations, how are they handling those populations? How are they dealing with pastors who might wind up being, sexual with a child? Where are these policies in place? And you don't have these, you're subject to a lawsuit, and or they're going to say, wait, the child said that, where's your policy on that?
Where's your policy?
I need a policy. Yes,
you do.
It may be a separation of church and state.
Come on now.
Okay, but we need to recognize that we're still going to have to abide by the laws of the land.
That's
rape is rape all day long. I don't care how much faith you got.
Come on now.
I don't care how much faith you got. Rape is rape.
That's true. And we got to abide by the laws of the land.
That's correct.
And I'm telling you, if you are a leader, pastor, business owner, and you deal with children in any form or fashion.
That's correct.
We are warning you. Get your sexual security policy.
Thank you.
Written down.
That's correct.
Put them in writing. So when somebody tries to sue you, you can say, okay, we have your child here, and we had you to sign off on these sexual security policies.
That's correct.
And we adhere to them. You got to train your employees.
Thank you.
You got to train your leaders, how to deal with people, because even what you're saying out of your mouth could cost you.
Yes.
Even what you're saying out of your mouth can cost you right now.
And I want to jump in there when you said that we should be training them. That's so true. One of the hardest things that leaders don't want to do, and that is to take the time to train them on how to actually adhere to those times, meaning go through it. Because people, you can hand them a handout all you want. They're not even reading it. They're throwing it in the back seat when they get home. They're just glad they got the job.
That's true.
But we need to also know that in adhering to that, when they understand, then you have all these things in there. What about kids that are on medication? What about kids who are funneling themselves and touching other kids? How are you handling this situation? Because there are kids who will. I've had one in my children's group for the summer program. He kept pulling his little wee-wee out and showing it to the kids. And then the parents found out about it. So now I'm like, oh, my God, this is going to mess up my nonprofit.
Right.
But thank God I have policies in place, and parents knew that we had a special needs child that is subject to do this.
Right.
So the good thing is that we had our orientation with the parents there. Mm-hmm. Parents knew that this child is subject to do that. And it's usually maybe he's not on his meds, or she might have forgotten to give it to him, or whatever. That's a whole other subject. Mm-hmm. But the principle is that if you set them down, get them to understand and go through and have the Q&A time so they would know that they can't say they didn't know.
That's
okay?
True.
This will protect you, okay?
That's
and like
true.
You said, sign off on it.
Sign off on it. Get you a whole agreement. Get you a lawyer, because things have gotten serious, y'all. And things are really different now from what they used to be. You can't let your kids walk home alone. You can't let them walk around and just be in certain places. Even if it's the grocery store.
Yes.
It's not safe. Children are being abducted right there in the Walmart parking lot. Come on now.
I know it.
Children are being sold.
That's correct.
Into slavery right here in Houston. Pedophiles are lurking.
Yes.
Everywhere. If you put in your zip code to where you live, it'll tell you where the pedophiles live in your neighborhood. They call them sex offenders. Look it up on the internet. They will show it to you. You know, and one thing that I find really disturbing, Dr. Murphy, is that the parents no longer have sanctity for human life.
I know. None.
They no longer have it.
None.
So they don't feel responsible and accountable for the life and the security of their children the way that they used to.
I know.
They'll sell them. You know, they'll hand them over to a man so that they can keep, you know, him around. I mean, just sacrifice. Just sacrifice. You know, and I got to throw this in here, Dr. Murphy. Some of y'all going to get upset with me, but I don't get excited anymore when you tell me you're pregnant. And you're having a baby. I'm not excited for you because I don't know what your mentality is.
First off,
I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what your motive is.
A husband or wife, and then those who
I don't know what your motive is. What is your motive?
Yes.
You know, because, you know, we're so into this fantasy about being married and having a child. But what happens when that child keeps you up all night long?
Thank you.
Day after day, that child is screaming and hollering and you have no comfort. You can't do what you used to do.
My God.
And you start worrying in your mind and worrying in your spirit. You're tired.
Right.
Come on here. I'm not excited because it's a great responsibility.
And their minds are not ready. You know, first of all, a lot of them are still wounded by so many other issues, and they're selfish. Like I said, they're just thinking about, I hope he's coming back. I want. Everything is about, well, now I guess he'll leave her and don't be with her children. You know, he's only going to be with my children. So now that it's just you and the baby, now what? Now you're going through all of this trauma, you're going through all these things that you're thinking in your mind that, you know, if I hadn't had you. Then these women are going through that postpartum to the point of voices that they're hearing, and they kill these kids, you know, or they abuse them physically. But we got to switch gears a little bit. I wanted to kind of share what you were saying just a while ago in regards to the women leaving their kids. You know, they have a tendency to leave these kids with even the father that they have seen them do the things they've done before they marry them, before they even allow them to move in with them. And they see these things going on with them. They see how they hop around from woman to woman. And before you know it, you are leaving your baby with them. That's why I thought about Malia. You left her with this man.
Look at this man. Look at this man.
And I don't understand. It appeared to me that a funeral, I probably would take my girl with me. You know, you want to leave the baby there, but the little girl. We have to make sure that we be very, very protective of these children in the sense that we know that what's going on in the relationship. We know that we as grandparents and parents can see, you know, what's going on in that children's church or what's going on at grandma's house. Why you want to leave them there? You know your brother just came home from this issue of sexual, you know, perversion or pedophile. You want to leave your child there and say, well, ain't no messing my child. Really? We need to be really, really thinking out what are we going to be doing pertaining to, not like you said, not just at the church, but it starts at home.
It starts at home. And, you know, we got to get some new ground rules, you know, for these homes. You know, if we train up a child in the way he should go, come on now, we got to train them sexually.
That's correct.
I know a lot of y'all don't want to talk about it, but, you know, we got to train them sexually at a young age. You know, I was looking at TV, this man raped a 2-year-old baby. Give me a break.
Really?
How do you rape a 2-year-old baby? You know, that's crazy.
It's a game.
And you know, the wife was in another place on the property, but he was in the farm, you know, on the farm with the child. You know, I mean, a lot of these things can be avoided.
Right.
You know, and some of you that were victims of sexual abuse, you know, when you look back at it, it really could have been avoided.
That's correct.
Your mother shouldn't have been leaving you with that person alone. Your mother shouldn't have been allowing you to be unattended and playing outside and running through the store, going to public bathrooms alone. I don't believe in that. And pastors, if you're listening,
yes.
Even in the church, children under 18 should not be allowed to go to the restroom without supervision. And we're also at a place where security needs to be manning these places where children reside.
Yes.
Whether it's a church, whether it's a daycare, we need constant security.
Yes.
Through cameras, through individuals. We got to set some things in order because the enemy is running rampant.
That's right.
With sexual abuse in our community. It's affecting the men, the women, the children.
That's correct.
Everybody. Every race. I don't care if you're Muslim,
That's
if
correct.
you're Jewish. It's affecting your community.
Right.
It's affecting every church. The Christian churches, the Catholic churches,
yes.
the Muslim churches. It's affecting all of us. We got to do something.
You're right. And in doing something, we're talking about the security policies, but we also have to make sure that those leaders get help. They need to get the counseling that they need. They need to reach out to these different resources that are available that you're talking about now. Number one, get with the security systems. Surveillance is going to be the word you need to hear over and over again.
Over and over
You
again.
need to get a surveillance program, a surveillance software. Because I mean, they got those that you can get apps for now, and talk with the nurseries and talk with the children's church to see. First of all, by law, I believe a lot of the daycare and stuff like that, they need to have the security cameras and things like that anyway, because we've got so much pedophiles coming in that the churches and the child care providers are not going by the laws of the land to make sure that they are screening these individuals through not just the local, because they don't want to pay that extra money.
Pay that money. Pay that nationwide money to do the FBI investigation.
I thought about this even with our school. When they come in, we get that assessment just to see where they are emotionally, functionally. But it doesn't matter. You can do that nationwide, but you better have some juice and you can be able to discern.
I was just about to say that.
You can discern. I don't care. You pass a good thing. Let me tell y'all something. I got to share this. When I had my mental health facility, it was a lady that worked for me who was a social worker. You hear what I'm saying to you?
Come on now.
She was a social worker, but my staff kept telling me, Sandy, it's something about that woman. She do a good work, but it's something about her. We go in the office sometime when she writing her notes. She be in there holding a conversation. There's nobody in there. And I was like, what? So I started trying to tip in on this thing and check it out. Long story short, I saw her in action having a conversation with nobody in the room while she's writing her notes. She said, well, yeah, and then she started talking. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
and so
goodness.
I saw it for myself. So after I saw it for myself, I called her in, had a meeting with her and asked her if she was on any meds or anything like that. And she said no, she was on any meds. And I said, so is everything okay? Are you going through? She said, I'm fine. Had checked her out, background check, everything. Guess what I did to check? I didn't check out the association, what they have, where they, like we got the pedophile list, where they actually have the warning, don't hire these people. So I started going through.
My goodness.
I started going through all these checks on her after the fact, okay, and found out that she was one that they said was mentally ill and that needed to get some help. Do not hire this lady. Had a photo. Do not hire this lady. And I was like, oh my God, I had to let her go. She did a good work. Remember, like I said, I checked her out. Her records came out as far as her background check, but not the check that a lot of them don't put on because, they got a way to not, protect their license. Where she actually was having issues from this association. They put them on that don't hire this lady because she has mental issues. I was blown away. And so when I got it, I showed it to her, and she said, they have no right to put that out there because I had a challenge. I was in a crisis. I said, you was in a crisis, but you counseling people who care that are mentally ill.
That's
and
true.
I was told that you hold the conversation by yourself, and I witnessed it. I could not have that. Because I don't know if she's going to start talking to somebody else while she's counseling them.
That's going to cost you. And especially, if you're in an environment where there are children.
That's correct.
You really need to get some really good references.
Okay.
Off of these
and check
people.
them. We get them on the paper, but you don't check them.
Right, because you got to deal with their past. and their presence.
That's correct.
And
correct.
Not thoroughly looking at everything could cost you.
That's correct.
It could cost you a lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
It could cost you a lawsuit.
That's correct.
If you had not found that,
okay,
and she did something,
that's correct.
You would have really been in trouble.
That's correct. What the devil, what she had said, you need to take your clothes off now. If she take her clothes off, and now I've been in a mess.
You've been in a big mess. You know, because that's why it's so important, you know, that we're telling you about acquiring the knowledge, getting the wisdom, and getting the understanding of sexual security. You know, you can look around all you want and try to pretend that it doesn't exist.
Right.
It exists.
Right.
Even in the church, evil is always present, y'all.
That's correct.
I don't care where you at.
That's
On
correct.
your job, evil is always present. In your house, evil is always present. You know, and let's talk about that spiritual discernment, because spiritual discernment will cause us to have to war.
That's correct.
Against the enemy. That he doesn't come in and just see it lit up and defile everything.
That's right.
Good that God has created.
That's right.
Sex is a good thing.
Yes, it is.
But when it's defiled, it's a bad thing.
Well, it's also defiled right in the church, like you said, because you don't want to talk about what is not right.
Right.
For you to keep hugging me a long time and
pulling my breath up on you. Come on now.
You know, and women rubbing their pastor, rubbing their head. I love your bald head. You know, it's just totally out of line. You know, and I'm not saying this to say that, they're just jealous. No. We need to have touch policies. We need to make sure that we have conversation policies.
Right.
You know, what's not right to talk about, what not right to do. You know, closing, kissing me on my lips, not on my cheek. You know, come on now.
Right, you squeezing the apostle, you know, so hard to everybody starting to question.
I'm so long, too. Don't leave that out.
You know, we need some sexual security measures. And for us as leaders,
yes,
we need to implement them.
And you got to go through it. That's why I push them.
Now, let's talk about the churches with sexual security.
Yes.
Really needs to be some reform there.
Yes.
Because you spoke of something in part 1 or part 2 of these sexual matters that needs to be implemented.
Yes.
And that is talking about sexual security during the new member class.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. And that's so important to do that in the members class. And one of the things that we had talked about, that we were available, a lot of them don't want to admit that they don't have policies, never even considered policy. I think because of what we do and what God has given us the anointing to talk boldly about situations, I believe the very first start is to bring that in there as we're talking about where you've been and what you know about this ministry. So knowing about the ministry vision and everything, they can see up front that we have policies. Many of them never cover anything like that at all. So orientation and that part of getting to know the pastor and the leader and the church, that goes hand in hand. Policy goes right in there saying, and we believe in this, and we believe in men and women being married, not women and women being married. You know, all these things are in that policy.
Come on now. It needs to be written out so that they understand that we're operating according to the Word of God. Not what we think.
Not our opinions.
Not our opinions.
Right.
But we're operating according to the Word of God. Here's the scripture.
And it's in that policy.
There it is, right there. You know, because a lot of people, you know, especially with what they call it, the LBGT or whatever community, they're so offended with the church people. Don't get offended. That ain't my rule. I love you. He told me to love you. I'm not against you. I'm against the spirit.
But they'll know that when you give the orientation.
Come on now. And there needs to be an understanding. You're welcome here. You're very welcome here.
Correct.
But don't try to make me a participant of your demonic activity.
And your
something that's not based in the Word.
What pastor was that? I don't know who that was. It's a Cody church where he told them we're not going to have you singing here. Well, the thing is that now people thought that was hard. But what it is like, I'm not going to have you infiltrate
right.
this choir or this group
right.
with this mess. You
with
can either going to adhere to what we do here. You're not coming up in here. We don't have earrings, and I'm not into the tattoo and earring message. This is a whole other different subject right now. We're talking about the security.
Right.
But the security also means emotional. It also means safety of the mindset of what we have already said that we're going to do here. They already know the policy. You come in here just to sing.
That's
okay.
True.
So you come here to sing. Now you want to make it look like that we are shaping our policies just to be able to have you sing. Yeah, they're coming. No, right. I don't think so. I agree with him in that fashion. But as far as the way we do things is very important. We need to look at the tactic, and the tactic will be happening based on where you approach it. I wouldn't went national TV on that. I would make sure that I would deal with that right in the church.
Right in the church.
Because it sends a different flavor to different people.
Right. But I believe that when it comes to sexual security in the church, it needs to be mandatory.
That's correct.
For old members, new members,
and deacons, they don't think they need nothing.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Just like, we're having this gun reform and putting up safety measures for gun control in the churches. We need to know how to exit the building. All these leaders, everybody in the building, they need to know how to act when, somebody comes in here with a gun. What do we do?
Well, the pastor said he got a pistol. I said, no, what about the deacons? What about the ushers? Those the first one who's guarding it don't get hit.
That's true.
What are we going to do?
And, one thing that I'm sure a lot of the pastors won't agree with, but I taught my ministers, you don't sit at the front of the church.
That's me. I don't
need
believe
you
in it.
sitting in the back on the back row, discerning what's coming up in this camp. I need you to be sitting on the back row to be discerning what's coming up in there. Hey, Pastor, such. Come let me know.
Yeah, they don't know to do something.
I need to know what's coming up in here. Okay,
thank you.
That don't look right,
Everybody got a collar on up front. The devil is like, I don't even roll like that.
Come on now. I'm not against us spending a lot of time
in
prayer and in fasting, but we got to put some things into demonstration.
Yes.
From the Holy Spirit. We got to start operating in the spirit of discernment. We got to know how to communicate spiritually with one another so that we can combat some of these spirits coming up in these churches.
That's correct.
You got all these ministers, these pastors, molesting children. You know what? You got to be confronted.
That's correct.
God is exposing them for a reason.
That's
you
correct.
need to be confronted.
That's correct.
You need to stop that. No, it's not going to be a great outpouring of sinners running to be saved. That is not going to happen in 2019 because the church needs to be revived.
That's correct.
The church needs to come back into, as the man of God was saying the other day, the authenticity of the glory and the presence of God being up on what we're saying and what we're doing.
That's right, meaning it's actually being demonstrated. I really, really think that's the reason why the world won't come in.
They ain't gonna come
because
in.
they see you up in here doing your four corners dance.
Come on here.
They see you up in here cussing, and next door the ladies who's old, 80 and 60 years old, her grass is growing up, and you can't get a deacon, and nobody needs
to go cut the grass.
To see, they may not be a member there, but what is social action for? I mean, what is evangelism called to do for the community? So that person may want to come there, or their children may want to come to church because you help their parents. But I think now the greatest thing that me and you are trying to make sure that they understand, and we're going to see whether or not if people, are going to even adhere to what we're saying,
right?
Because a whole lot of them, you can see, they won't even, not that we need it, because, we old school, we don't care. We don't care if you like it or if you, love it, and we don't care if you want to do any of that. But what we do care about is that you at least adhering to making a comment or something saying, I hear you. I hear you, Dr. SONJA. I hear you, Dr. Murphy, where all I really want to do is make a comment that, yes, we do need this. Oh, how do we get started? What should we do? Well, we're giving you some tips here, to start with.
Right.
To pay attention to these women who are always in your husband's face, elect lady. Pay attention.
Come on now, pay attention.
To these children who are always hugging on this youth pastor, this young girl, or this young boy is always want to hug this youth pastor, whether they're female or male.
We need to be paying attention to that, and
That's
working on these policies and demonstrating them through orientation.
Come on now, through orientation. It needs to be addressed.
Yes.
And I hear a lot of y'all saying, I just don't want to talk about that.
Right.
It's time now for us putting stuff up under the rug.
And the church is not the church's place for that.
It is the church's place. It is the church's place.
Sex is at the church, so why not that be there?
Come on now.
Orientation.
We have got to address sexual security.
Right.
Because people are coming into the church, they're trusting the pastor, they're trusting the leader.
Correct.
They're trusting their children with the leaders, and they're being molested. They're being raped. They're being fondled. They're being talked to in the wrong way. Now, Dr. Murphy, we've been talking a lot about sexual matters, especially in the church. And I was watching TBN the other day, and the subject was the two greatest problems in the church right now are the leaders who are out of control sexually, and the children, the safety, the sexual safety of the children. I said, Lord, you always confirm. I said, look at him confirming.
That's correct.
And they were saying it needs to be addressed.
Yes, it does.
That it needs to be addressed individually, collectively,
yes, Lord,
corporately. It needs to be addressed. If you know, pastor or leader, that you have somebody that's on your team, that's out of order, correction need to be made. Rebuke is better than love, right? Okay,
all day long.
Come on now. They got to get it right. Because, I've known histories of deacons. They sleeping with every woman in the church.
And having babies. Won't leave that out.
Pastors having babies. Wife trying to hold her hand.
Trying to hold on.
She shame. She like her lifestyle. But that breaks the covenant.
Yes, Lord.
That breaks the covenant.
Lord.
So what do? Let's go to the victims.
Come on. My God.
How do we protect the victims? Even with your policies, you got to come up with something
for the victim.
For the victim.
That's correct.
Because faith-based counseling need to be set up in the church.
That's exactly right.
For those that have come on, Dr. Murphy, speak to me this morning.
One thing, in training churches about faith-based counseling, one of the worst things that they can do is try to go to their mom and their daddy.
Right.
See, you need to have people who are certified. It's a difference between pastoral counseling for matters such as I'm going through my marriage and so on. You're just there to talk to your mom and your dad.
Right.
But when it starts to get to the point that there's abuse, when it starts to get to the point where you need medication, and you're having these struggles, PTSD, and all this stuff, postpartum, things that are mentally disturbing you. Because now you're sitting on the fuse. We don't know what he may do or what you may do or what each year may do.
That's true.
So now it's time for you to make sure you have someone that's beyond you as a mom and a dad. Just like me trying to counsel my own children, that's not going to work. So you do have to have those in the church that are ready to counsel those people without having to bring those private matters to the spiritual mother and father of the church.
That's
you can't,
true.
But what you do
You
have to do,
something set up.
And you do have to have policies that let that person know you're in the church, and I'm the counselor at the church, so the policy should read something like, you're giving me the responsibility to say this, and this to your pastor who have requested that you come here. So now you have that communication to say, this is all I can share with the pastor and the first lady, because that client has told you how much you can share. You cannot go past that. And a lot of them want to share in the church because they're not mature. They want to discuss the person's private life across the pulpit. So and husband are going through, and we're going to continue to pray for them. Like I told Deacon, he put no hand on no woman because I don't believe in that. Now, you done told the whole story. She's getting beat now. Now you're saying that across the pulpit. They're all ashamed, and now he's going back and slapping her again because you told him I slapped you too.
Okay, now
God help us out.
That touches on another thing. While you're writing your church sexual security policies, you got to put some privacy clauses and disclaimers in there. Don't make me get lawyer on you.
Okay, you got to.
You need to put some disclaimers.
That's correct.
And some privacy policies
Correct.
in there with what you're teaching and what you're saying.
Correct.
I truly believe that there are so many people, and you know, I've talked to men and women. They 50, they 60, they 40, they 30.
Yes.
They were abused as a child sexually, and they still dealing with it.
I know.
They are still dealing with it.
Yes.
And we as a church body, we need to set up some programs.
That's correct.
Within the body
and
that they can take.
Exactly.
And, you know, because healing is the children's
That's
bread.
Exactly
Deliverance
right.
is the children's bread. If God said that I can be delivered from this thing, if I can be healed from this thing, I want to be healed.
Exactly.
I want to be delivered. I want to stop having nightmares.
Come on.
I want to stop having headaches. I want to stop having heart palpitations.
Yes.
I want to stop getting nervous.
But they're scared. You know, a lot of times people, and the children are scared.
Yes, Lord.
I think, you know, any ministry, you ain't got to have a four-wall church ministry. Everybody should have resources with domestic violence programs.
Come on now.
You should have connections with them. You should be inviting them over for connecting meetings so that they can talk about and they can see that we're partnering in this matter in the church. But they don't want to do that. We don't need that in here. We don't have it in here. But as long as they want to have a denial mindset, they're going to have everything sit on that pew, and eventually that's why a lot of them come to the church because I'm tired of sleeping with my wife, and they shoot up everybody.
That's true. And you have a lot of, let's kind of touch on that a little bit, a lot of married people, you know, sitting inside of the church with sexual issues.
That's correct.
Within the marriage.
Correct.
You know, people have stepped outside the marriage because they're not being sexually fulfilled. You know, we got to talk about it.
Oh, yeah, we got to talk about it. And
we can't ignore it.
And we need to have groups for that, you know, and groups that are not necessarily that belong to the church. See, this is the problem. You want to have everybody post these things who you feel that's going to be faithful to do it when their marriage is jacked up to, or either she's Jezebel and he's Ahab, or Pete's sake, letting her go on and look holy at church, but yet she's controlling at home. So when we have this kind of stuff going on, they, you know, you just got to really disjoint it. Why don't you get somebody who is qualified in those areas, don't have them belong to the church, so that people can receive them better. And they know that now, well, you may have been in the group, but the group rule was to don't go outside this room. So if you go outside this room and you was in a group, I know it had to come from somebody in this church.
Right.
We need to understand that, like you said, we got to deal with and address those sexual matters, those things in special groups. They have those what they call gender identity matters. You need to have all those in your policy. How are you going to deal with these people who said openly, well, I'm gay, but I'm just going to accept it. I don't care. Well, now you need to separate them in a specific group because you've already identified all these because you got it on the paperwork when they filled it out. What is your gender? Honestly, they'll say unknown. Well, it's unknown. Now I need to put you in an unknown group. Lord, help me today.
That's true.
But they don't want to do that. They don't want to even fill out an application for these people. They just want to put them in there and say, we're in orientation. About what?
That's true. We got to give out more knowledge to sexual security. You know, a lot of people, you know, I don't even know why God gave me this, but I'm going to go and say it. You know, you get sexually transmitted disease.
That's correct. That's correct.
And you're still out here just being as promiscuous as you want to be.
That's correct.
God is exposing you.
That's a safety matter right there because, first of all, a lot of the leaders, they've heard these things about so-and-so got HIV and so-and-so, and the leader knows it, but you know that he's now connected with this guy and or this woman, and you know they got the disease, but you're not trying to get them to understand you're gonna be sleeping around, stuff like that, but you're not going to be going to my sheep. That's what a protective mother and a father does.
Yeah, that's right.
You sit down, you talk to them and go, I see you get in this relationship.
Right.
I understand you all are you intimate because you understand what you have here. I don't want you infecting them now. You can take it sharp, you can take it soft. I don't want you to do this. Now, what are you doing? Because you know them. You know they like sex. So now you're going to say, they just talking. No, they may not be just talking. That person, they may not even disclose that they have HIV or AIDS. So now you have allowed this person is happening over and over again right from the church that spiritually and physically infecting the people.
That's true. And they love to come get church people.
That's correct.
You know, these demons love to manifest in church people because they know church people are real trusting.
Right.
Church people are real loving. And you can become a victim.
Yes.
So how do you not become a victim of someone's sexual dysfunction?
You're going to be a victim. First of all, because all the stuff that's going on with the individual, it's called soul tie. I mean, a soul tie don't have to necessarily be physical. It can be emotional. You know, just those things. So now you have become a victim of their mess that they never got any help for, or they were too ashamed to get any help for. And that's why it's so important that we're not trying to appear that we're trying to make it an institution of a kind that we're trying to micromanage. I think what's important is that people need to understand management of souls. You don't want people just run around trying to do anything because those people God has put in your hand.
That's
so
true.
You got to make sure you know that this is a spiritual infection. It can also be a physical infection.
Right, and that's why you need leaders and other people, lay members that are filled with the Holy Spirit, with the evidence of speaking in tongues so that they can spiritually discern within the body.
Yes.
We need some watchmen on the wall.
Yes.
We need some people that just can just stand in the gap and see, okay, that one right there, now
yes.
I'm going to pray against that
yes.
thing. You know, because everything God exposes for a reason, not always to go public,
yes.
but sometimes for us to just pray and fast against the spirit
yes.
within that person.
Well, I wanted to bring this out because you said about speaking in tongues. A lot of people, for security emotionally, a lot of people have come from different churches where they don't believe in speaking in tongues. They don't believe in these things, but yet they joined the church, looked at the website if they had one, or they were in orientation and talked about it, and they agreed when they filled out an application, whatever, that they agreed with what they saw. We believe, okay? And a lot of them don't even put that in their policies and procedures about what they believe. We believe in manifestations of signs and wonders. We believe in casting out demons. We believe all these things. But when a person starts seeing a demon being cast out, when a person starts hearing tongues going across, now they feel violated. They feel this is crazy. These are demons in here. The pastor's a demon. The first lady's a demon. She's running around tackling like a duck. I believe that because no one has explained this to them, and maybe they came out of a church that they never understood that, this needs to be a conversation as well, because the first thing that the kids are afraid saying, she was saying some kind of language to me, laying her hands on my head. That's a whole other thing, too. That's security. You don't know that you can't get your letting people put these hands on these children's heads and speaking in tongues. They don't know. They're scared.
That's true, because spirits do transfer.
That's correct.
And so you have to be careful with people laying hands on you. Now, if you're one of those people that just say, you know, I trust somebody to lay hands on me, you better have a really good covering.
And discernment.
I'm trying to tell you, because you never know what forms of witchcraft and all these other type of spirits, you know, that they're dealing with, you know. And, you know, we're talking about sexual security in the churches.
Yes.
You know, and it's a mandate, y'all. It's not just something that we can just excuse anymore, because it's taken over the church, and we got to address it, and we got to stop, you know, sweeping it under the rug, and like we didn't see that, and we didn't hear that, and we didn't know about that. You know, we know about it, so it's time to do something about it. Also, our schools. Those of you that are educators, you know, you need to push with these schools to get some sexual reform in these schools, to get some policies with some disclaimers, with some privacy, you know, and we need to even start implementing some classes within these educational institutions on a collegiate level, on a spiritual level, on an elementary level, however we can get it. High school, middle school, we need it.
Well, let's start, like you said, in the household of faith. I think because the household of faith comes from homes.
Right.
Okay, and I really think that, you know, those that listen to us that are pastors or leaders, any fivefold, you don't have to even have a church. I mean, we've made it very clear that we're here to help.
Right.
And I think that if you have someone who wants to help you, someone who is mature in those areas. We ain't saying we're 100, but we do have some wisdom God has given us.
That's true.
So I just think that, you need to put down the comments of this video that we're doing on behalf of Talking to the Pastor show to see whether or not if we can come and help you. I think that should start, those policies should start beginning with yourself. What do you want your ministry to impact others with? Let's have that conversation, set an appointment with her so that we can have that conversation about, having a meeting. I challenge you. I would like to do that on your show. I challenge you to email Dr. Sonja and say, listen, I heard your tape. I really want to sit down. Let's have a conversation, you and I, about maybe we can do a workshop on policy. Maybe we can do a workshop on how we can handle our children's church. I think at the time that we're in, we're too busy trying to see, I'm not going to help you or push you up. We're not trying to do that. We're trying to protect what we call family, and that is the body of Christ. Right. So I challenge you to do that, to get a hold of her, to see how she can come to you and set that time up and do some workshop preparations. Let's call it that. Preparing you to do it. Amen.
Right. Because, if you work with children or even a body of people, whether it be a business, whether it's a church, it's a daycare, or whatever, you need to have some policies and procedures set.
Anyway.
Give you something to cover yourself.
Right.
And I'm not just talking spiritually. I'm talking legally.
That's correct.
Cover yourself. Cover yourself.
Yes,
because there are a lot of people losing out on their businesses and everything because they got slapped with a lawsuit.
That's correct.
There were no policies and procedures set in place for sexual security. Hey, you've been sexually harassed. There were no rules set in place. We need something.
And they don't have to have a church to have these policies
set in
That's correct.
place. And you need to have some parental procedures
That's
as
correct.
well. Because, everybody been making a big fuss about the laws that were set in place, the policies concerning the mothers coming in there dressing like they just got out of bed.
And the LGBTQ, all these others, they made their policies, and we have to abide by them in the church, but we won't make them.
Okay, come on now. We better make some policies. We better make some policies and some good foundational policies with some disclaimers in it.
Right.
And put some whole harmless agreements in there so people can come back and sue you saying, well, I didn't know what I thought.
No, it won't be that because, whose signature is this? I thought you knew because we went over it.
Right. And so we're putting everybody in the know. Put everybody in your church or your business or whatever you have, put them in the knowledge of it. Let's talk about sexual security when dealing with police.
Oh, my.
Let's talk about that.
Well, I don't know where you're going with it, but I've had some encounters.
So have I.
I think a lot of them, they're human too.
It's true.
If a woman is beautiful or they have their sex drive is off the chain, then they're going to be approaching women and stuff like that, even when they come in for something else. They're looking at your body and they're looking at, around the seat. And, and not just you. You got to make sure you know, too. I don't care. If you're going to take my child to the car and talk to them, I'm going to be standing by the door. I've had them literally say, get away from the car. And I'm like, well, that's my baby. She's a minor. You got to make sure you know your rights. So we got to make sure that we don't be afraid either to speak. But you need to make sure that you honor and respect. That's the two.
That's true.
So you can make sure you have that. And now we're going to have to use our systems. We're going to have to use our cell phones and record.
Yeah, that's true. You turn on your cell phone, honey. We were looking at, what was that video the other day with Sandra Bland?
Yeah.
Sandra Bland had turned on that cell phone. And she was recording the whole thing. If you're able, like you said, turn on your cell phone when you're dealing with the police. Because unfortunately, all of them, aren't legit.
They're not.
You got bad cops. You got bad people in high places.
And some of them ain't got caught yet.
Yeah, that's true. They haven't got caught.
Look at this stat here. It says that a serial sex offender can abuse up to 360 people before he can get caught. Isn't that sad?
That's true.
360, which means that I done touched your baby in this house. I done went to your grandma, and I took the baby in the back, and I fondled them, and the little boy, and so on. I mean, one after another. They're serial offenders never got caught, and we're in the church got serial offenders never got caught, never been addressed even. Let's don't leave it out. Got caught, maybe never was addressed because you may need them to play that organ, or you may need them to teach that class. So I think in this point that you're bringing out, even if they're police officers, we still need to be bold enough to address them. I always look for the badge number and write it down.
That's so true. And as you were talking, a lot of people are still clubbing.
Yes.
But that club you go into, they need to have some kind of sexual security policy.
That's right.
Concerning you, to protect you. Because most people that's coming out the club are in the club, you being drugged.
Correct.
Come on now.
Right.
You being taken in the rooms within the club. It's some really foul things,
That's right.
going on. And, God chose us to come and talk to you about it. Something has to be done about it. We got to address it. Whether you own a club, you own a church, you own a business, you need to get some policies reinforced. And one thing that Dr. Murphy brought up that was really important, I know a lot of the pastors don't feel like implementing these type of programs. That's where bridging the gap between the community and the church comes in. Pastors, you need to connect with different programs, 501c3 programs, different faith-based counseling programs that deal with battered women, that deal with, young kids and promiscuity, that deal with rape, molestation, with healing and deliverance. You need to connect with those programs, especially if you don't really want to talk about it and you're not really schooled and educated in that area. You can't do everything.
And especially if you're struggling yourself. We ain't going to leave that out.
And if you're struggling yourself with it, don't be afraid, leaders, to get education on sexual security. Pastors, don't be afraid, to get it. You need to get it. You'd be surprised at the number of your people that would love your transparency of you just getting out there and you telling them, I'm establishing a program for those of you that have been sexually molested or abused as a child and those that are currently being abused. I'm establishing a program here at the church that's faith-based, to teach you how to cope, to teach you how to live again.
Yeah, Lord. Yes, indeed. It's just so much to cover in this subject, especially when you're trying to get people to see how important it is.
It's important.
Protective, and one of the greatest things I can give in this message, in closing and talking about what we've been carrying on for your message to the public, is awareness. We got
to get the awareness.
We've got to get the awareness. The awareness says that I am aware, I understand, now I can protect and act on the situation.
Right.
But if you don't get awareness, you just get these symptoms of denial that this is not here and I don't need that. And that's the reason why we're trying to get you to understand that you don't need a lawsuit either.
That's true. And it's so important, we as a church, we got to know that we got to step in, and start dealing with these things spiritually.
Yes, Lord.
We've been dealing with it naturally.
Come on.
Girl, she crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go deeper than that.
That's correct.
God is saying go deeper. So, we got to deal with the depression in the church, the things that people are dealing with, mental illness, these generational curses that have come down through the bloodline, on a sexual level. We got to deal with it.
Got to.
We can't just sweep it up under the rug. It's not cute, and we got to deal with it. And I believe if we be honest with ourselves, we know deep down it's a problem.
Correct.
It's a problem in the church. It's a problem in the home.
Yes.
It's a problem in some of us that haven't been healed and delivered. We still acting like a victim.
That's so real.
Of circumstance. And so it's very, very important, that we put out the knowledge, we get an understanding, we make you aware.
Yes.
And you really got to guard your children. You got to guard and protect these babies. Because, you know, we say all the time, they're our future.
Mm-hmm.
What are we putting out there? A damaged future?
Come on.
A damaged future? A dysfunctional legacy? I'm totally, you know, with everybody that supports the idea that we got to do something.
Correct.
And sexual security needs to be implemented, as Dr. Murphy said. If you need us, you call us.
Amen.
My telephone number is 281-591-4722. It's 281-591-4722. Call us. We'll be more than happy to come. It might cost you a little something, but we'll be more than happy to come because our time is not free. We're serious about what we do and who we are, so we value it. So we put a value on it, amen?
Right.
We put a value on it, amen? So don't call us thinking we're going to come out just to do something for free, okay? So we don't mind helping you. We don't mind educating you. We don't mind giving you resources. We have people that you can contact, you know, if you're afraid to minister to your people, you know, about sexual security. Right. We got you covered. Call us. Our number is 281-591-4722. And if you feel like you need to email us, you got a question for us, you can email us at feelingbettertoday@gmail.com. That is feelingbettertoday@gmail.com. Well, I've certainly enjoyed my sister, my friend, my counselor, my mentor on today. I tell you, she is just a phenomenal woman, and I have enjoyed discussing this subject with you. We may come up with a part 4. You just never know because we're really not finished talking about this. And if you missed part 1 and part 2, you can access it on YouTube. And if you can't find it, you can give us a call and let us know that you can't find it. Or, hey, you can even send me a messenger on Facebook and let me know, hey, I can't find it, and we'll take you right there. I'll send it to you. In the name of Jesus, as I always say, it's my purpose, my privilege, my prayer, and my pleasure to service you. And you have been talking to the pastor, and we've been talking with Dr. Sandy Murphy. In the name of Jesus, we pray that you are blessed by what you have learned, that you've come into the knowledge, and you have gotten an understanding of what you have learned on today. Be safe out there, and I tell you the truth, enjoy your day on purpose. I know you may have some things going on, but purpose in your heart and your mind to enjoy your day on purpose, because this is the place where we are manifesting the abundant life through a new mindset. Enjoy your day on purpose. We love you.
Thank
Say
you.
Goodbye, Dr.
Bye-bye. Enjoy your holiday.
Bye-bye.